Hey there, Wendy here with Jazzydoodledesign, and today we're going to do part 5 on this page. And I apologize, I've got the book at an angle, and I hope it doesn't look angled for you, but I feel like this is a better angle because this is such a small image. I want you to be able to see when I put a pencil down where the pencil is. So let me know in the comments if this is working or not, or if it feels weird to you. Okay. All right, let's get started. So this is an interesting image because I'm not 100% sure if these are supposed to be marshmallows or whipped cream or froth. So I'm gonna kind of color it a little bit like a whipped cream with some sprinkles on it, and then these 4 on the top as marshmallows. So that's what I'm going with. The colors that we're going to need are white, light peach, light umber, espresso, carmine red, scarlet lake, crimson lake, and black cherry. Don't worry, I'm going to put them out as I go, but I just wanted you to have kind of an overview of what I'm looking at right now. If I add anything else, I will throw a card in for you. Okay? So I'm going to start with light peach. I just feel like I kind of want my marshmallows and the cream and stuff to have a little bit more of a tone than just gray. And I think this will go okay with our brownish tones. Okay, so I'm just coming in here on the sides of these marshmallows, just almost like the toasty part, right? And then just a little bit on each edge of these lines, because like I said, not 100% sure what those are. Oh, the other thing that we're going to need is I'm using the Staedtler, let me see if I can read the number, 76. It's just a brown. Just grab a brown, any brown. It can be any fine liner that you have. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to dot all along these, see where these little skinny lines are? So I'm just kind of making a little row of dots there. Almost like there's sprinkles. So you might want to watch this to the end and see if you like what I do. Because maybe you're like, what in the heck is she even doing? Okay, so next up is light umber. And this is the part where I'm adding a little bit of brown here, like on the edge here, this bottom edge, and then kind of coming up a little bit on the side there. Now, I don't want a really solid line because this is supposed to be kind of frothy and kind of, so I'm kind of making little circly type of motions just so it's not 100%, you know, like a straight line or anything. And here, I'm not toasting every part of this marshmallow, right? So I'm just putting some toasties almost randomly on it, with emphasis kind of on this lower edge, the shadowy bit. But then you see here just like, just a little bit, right? Oh, I need another card. Okay, next up is warm gray 10%. So this is gonna kind of go in to the, not 100% of the marshmallow. I'm gonna leave a little room for the white, but I'm kind of adding it just along where I just put that light umber. Okay, and then we're going to go in with our white. I always get the point just a little too pointy for my heavy hands. But you see, I'm not really blending everything out, but I am kind of putting in some white highlight there, using kind of a medium pressure. Okay. Now I'm going to go in with our Stabilo again, and I'm going to put some dots in little groups here, kind of like maybe cocoa powder. But I want them kind of in groups, because if they're random, it just looks a little weird. If my white kind of covered up some stuff, honestly, this was a very tricky image for me. I'm not sure I've pulled it off. Where's our... I'm going to go back to this light umber again. Maybe just put a little bit more in. I feel like the white kind of washed it out a little. Okay. Next up, we're going to work our way into the reds. I'm going to start with espresso. So here I'm going to go in just on the edge here, kind of flicking. I'm going to turn my book just a little. Flicking a little bit into, not necessarily flicking, but going a little lighter as you go in. You just want this really dark on the edge. Because I'm looking at this cup kind of face on, I want the dark here on the edge. Underneath. Don't go down too deep, but a little bit. And then right here on this inside, here along this edge, it helps if you look at a drawing, right? Or like a cup or something. But I want a little bit of dark here on this edge, and then coming down here like this, kind of at an angle. Okay, and then we're going to go in with our dark red. Now it's up to you at this point. We can add a little bit of this black cherry like we did here. It will give it almost a purpler tone, so I think I'm going to skip it this time, and I'm just going to go with Crimson Lake. This is going to give it a little bit more of a pure red. And I'm going to cover that espresso because we don't really want a brown cup. And then as I go out, I'm going to get a little lighter, but I'm only going to bring this color out to about here, right? Maybe just a little along that edge. leave a little highlight right there. And then we're going to bring this color out just a little bit. So I'm using a lighter pressure. And it kind of depends on how dark you want your cup. If you want it darker red, you want to bring this darker color out a little bit. So we're going to come up here. I'm going to leave a highlight here, like right on the little bendy part. But then this piece is going to be colored with more of the darker. Okay, and then next up is our next darkest red, which is the Scarlet Lake. So once again, kind of going over everything we've done. So starting with that. Because we definitely want the cup to read red. So we'll use our eraser there because I'm a wild woman. But we want to bring this color down a little bit and out a little bit. We want to save a little bit of highlight for the carmine red. So we're bringing it in a little, but not all the way. But then lightening up as we get closer, right? So that we get a nice blend. Okay. And then next up is our carmine red. If you really want a light spot, you can use a little, you can leave it white and go over it with that light peach. But I don't really want any shine here in the middle. I just want it red. So I'm just kind of going over everything with this red. So we're going to leave our little highlight there and there. So just make sure everything's covered. Okay, and then we're going to repeat the process and blend that all out until we get it the way we want it. Okay, so next up is, you can decide if you want it a little darker, you can put some more espresso in there. I'm okay with how dark it is, so I think I'm just going to go in and just do another layer of my reds. Now I'm not burnishing hard, but I am adding a little bit of pressure here. Now, if you're one of those patient people, feel free to do several layers. I tend to be a little more impatient, and I'm going to try and probably get this done on this layer. But you can take your time and do multiple layers of this, which in truth is probably the better way to go. but I work with what I have and my impatient nature. I did erase that a little bit there where I boo-booed up. Okay, now I'm going to kind of pull this color in just a little bit. I'm okay with a little bit darker red of cup than I have. Okay, so next up is Scarlet Lake. Doing the exact same thing. Now if you think this is too pink here in the middle, bring this color all the way in. It's really what you want the final result to be. I'm going to very lightly go over it to tone back a little bit of the pinkness. But I do like it to be lighter, so I don't want to bear down too much. Okay, and then last, going over it with our carmine. Now's the time to get every little fiddly bit colored. These images are so tiny, which I like because then we can finish up, right, in under 15 minutes. But y'all, they're tiny. Okay, light peach right here on my highlight, just to tone it back a little bit. Okay, now let's do our straw. I'm going to go in with this red. Okay, this red just on the edges. You can start with the dark if you'd like. If you start with the dark, it'll probably look a little darker. I really didn't want this to be this dark here. I feel like straws are a little lighter. Okay, and then on the edges here, I'm going to go in with that warm gray, and just on the edge, do a little warm gray, and then in the middle, our white. Okay. For this, I'm going to use a Posca. Make sure it's started there. Now it's certainly up to you. You could use this white Posca on your marshmallows to get rid of the lines. I feel like I should color these images before I have coffee in the morning. Otherwise, I get a little shaky. And these images are so small that if you shake, you're like, very much notice it, right? I almost feel like I need a little white. Make sure your Posca's clean. I don't know. I'm torn. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry. Okay, I'm back. It's dry. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in with espresso right along the edges. Not a lot, just a little. It's going to add just a little definition. See how it kind of makes that pop a little? Kind of just gives it a little, makes it look a little more dimensional. Okay, and then just a little dot there in the middle. The other thing I want to do is I want to bring in just a little bit of sienna brown. I feel like it just needs a little more oomph. Just a little on the edges, almost like a shadow color. Okay. Yeah, so that's it. Feel free to add more, do less. I just felt like I had a little bit of a line. Maybe just a couple more sprinkles. Alright guys, that's it. I will catch you on the next one. Thank you for watching another video from Jazzydoodledesigns. If you enjoy adult coloring content, please consider subscribing. You can now find me on Instagram and Facebook as well. I welcome all comments and suggestions. Don't forget to like the video before you go. And until next time, take care.